Okay, so when you hear the phrase self love, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, it's probably something soft, comforting, affirming. But what if I told you the most powerful form of self love isn't gentle at all? What if it's actually something much, much fiercer?
We've all seen this one, right? It's the kind of thing you see on a coffee mug or a motivational poster. The idea is simple. If you can just be gentle and accept yourself, everything else in your life will just click into place. It's a really beautiful thought, and honestly, it's the foundation of what most of us have been taught about self-love.
And hey, it makes sense. This version of self love feels good. It's all about being kind to yourself, forgiving your own flaws, and putting your well being first. It's a comfortable story. But what if it's not the whole story? And then you come across an idea like this, and it just stops you in your tracks. This completely flips the script. It suggests the goal isn't comfort at all. The goal is truth. And not just any truth, a truth that's described as ruthless. Wow, that's a huge shift, moving away from just feeling good and towards a really sharp, brutally honest self-awareness. So, what really happens when we start prioritizing being true to ourselves over just feeling good? Well, let's be honest. The truth is rarely a gentle friend. It doesn't usually show up to pat you on the back and tell you everything's okay. A lot of the time, it arrives with a sledgehammer. First, the truth cuts. It slices right through all those convenient little stories we tell ourselves. The small deceptions we use just to make it through the day. Then it exposes. It shines this bright, totally unforgiving light on our weaknesses, our excuses, all the parts of ourselves we would much rather keep locked away in the dark. And finally, it demolishes. It can completely tear down these comfortable but false structures we've built our whole identities on. It can feel really destructive, but it's a process that clears the ground so something much more real, more authentic can be built in its place. Okay, so if we're going to invite this powerful, sometimes painful, truth into our lives, how do we protect ourselves? The absolute key is to learn the difference between all the world's noise and your own sacred space. This is where you have to draw a really clear, thick line in the sand. On one side, you have the external noise. Let the world have its opinions about stuff like your accent, your clothes, the sound of your voice. That's all it is, noise. But on the other side, that's your fundamental worth, your very being. That is your sacred space. And you have to guard it fiercely, because nobody else gets to pass judgment there.
And this, of course, brings up a massive question. If we're blocking out the judgment of the world, whose opinion takes its place? Whose opinion is the one that ultimately matters when it comes to who we really are? The answer is this profound shift of power. The judge's seat moves from the outside world to inside of you. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. You aren't supposed to be your own cheerleader or your own biased lawyer. No, you're supposed to become something else entirely. You become your own strictest examiner. Now, this is not about beating yourself up just for the sake of it. Far from it. This is about being rigorously, deeply honest with yourself. It's about holding yourself to a standard that you set and refusing to buy your own excuses. It's a really fierce, uncompromising form of self-respect. And here is the incredible payoff. When you are the one holding the gavel, when you're the one conducting this rigorous self-examination, the world's opinions, both the good and the bad, they just start to lose their grip on you. You're no longer desperate for their praise or totally crushed by their criticism. I just love this metaphor. External validation, whether it's praise or blame, is like a bunch of shaky, totally unreliable puppet strings. If you hang your sense of self on them, you're just going to be constantly pulled around and tossed about. Real stability, that comes from being anchored deep within yourself. So, how do you actually put this into practice? It's really a three-step process. First, step one, you hear the judgment. You let it in, the praise, the criticism, all of it. But, and this is key, instead of letting it define you, you move to step two. You process it as raw data. It's just information. That's it. It's not a final verdict on your worth. And because of that, you can do step three. You remain unmoved. Your core sense of who you are stays completely intact because it was never even up for debate. So all of this is building toward a brand new kind of vow. We've gone from that comfortable, cozy idea of self-love to something so much more demanding. This is a promise that you make to yourself, not a promise of softness, but a promise of strength.
And that is the heart of this entire idea. This kind of self-love isn't about whispering sweet affirmations in the mirror. It is a fierce awareness of who you are, all of you. It is a relentless honesty about your actions and your real motivations. It is the challenging but ultimately liberating work of being truly, deeply true to yourself. Which leaves us with one final, powerful question to really think about. It's pretty easy to be your own biggest fan or your own worst critic, but to be your own strictest, most honest, and uncompromising examiner, that's the real challenge. And maybe, just maybe, that's the truest form of self-love there is.